Society live on this rainy and stormy Wednesday night. Hopefully it's dry and a lot better weather than where you're at. And hopefully we can keep this power going. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vol Society lead analyst here on the Vol Society Network. Don't forget, we're all over social media, facebook.com/UT Society, youtube.com/Vol Society, and follow us on Twitter at Society Vol. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Our founder, Brad, already in the chat room says, baseballs. How about the boys? We're going to talk all about the Tennessee baseballs as we're getting ready for Super Regional Weekend. We're going to talk all about this weekend's matchup with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. We're going to break down the entire weekend in the Knoxville Regional as we took on Alabama State, Campbell, and Georgia Tech. We'll break that all down. And then we will talk about Notre Dame, give a preview of how they're going to look, and then we will wrap up the night. Probably the last 5-10 minutes, we'll do our Behind the Enemy Line series as we preview the LSU game for the football season. But tonight, mainly, we're going to talk about the Tennessee baseball team. So, big weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The weather was nice for the most part. Tennessee, the number one team in the nation, coming off winning every SEC championship you can think of. Like I said, coming off even winning at Hoover. And now we're getting ready to host this regional tournament. Tennessee started their first game in the SEC baseball tournament, taking on Alabama State. Tennessee ends up shutting them out 10-0. Very fun game. Brad says he hadn't had that much fun watching baseball in a long time. So much fun to watch. This team is definitely fun to watch. Jarrell Ortega got the party started in the second inning as he hit a double into left center field. Tennessee took an early 1-0 lead. And then in the fourth inning, Ortega went deep. Solo blast to deep center field, 2-0 Tennessee through 4 innings. Then a sacrifice RBI by Jordan Beck in the fifth inning. Tennessee led 3-0. And then Christian Taylor grounded out to the pitcher, a little sack bunt action. Tennessee led to 4-0. Luke Lippius single into left field made it 5-0. Jordan Beck then hit a home run, a 2-run homer, and the left center field made it 7-0 Tennessee. And then Drew Gilbert with a solo homer made it 8-0. Blake Burke with a home run. And then Jordan Beck ended the night off with another home run. 10-0 Tennessee defeated Alabama State. Looking at the pitching numbers, Blake Tidwell ended up getting the start. He went 7 2/3 innings with 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks. So good job for him. Ben Joyce came in there and got the final out. I believe he came in there. I think it was like the 7th inning, I believe. And then no, I'm sorry, it was in the 8th inning. And then Mark McLaughlin got pitched the final inning, the 9th inning. Like I said, Tennessee went on to win that one 10-0, and then they get ready to take on Campbell the next day. So now the Fighting Camels was Tennessee's second opponent of this regional coverage. Tennessee ends up winning that one 12-7, a closer game. Campbell jumped out to a 4-0 lead. And like I said, this team I thought was really, besides what we saw with Georgia Tech in the finale, I thought Campbell was probably the toughest team in our region. A 40-win team, champions of the Big South. This team I thought could give us a little bit of fits, and they did. Like I said, in the bottom of the third, they had a 4-0 lead, but then Tennessee came firing back in the fourth inning, and it got started with Trey Lipscomb with an RBI single, and then Jarrell Ortega with another home run. He hit one on Friday, hit one on Saturday night, and then Drew Gilbert on the anniversary of his walk-off grand slam against Wright State. He broke the lead open for Tennessee, or gave Tennessee the lead, I should say, as the Vols led it 6-4 in the fifth inning, and then Ortega with an RBI single was 7-4 Tennessee. Campbell made a bit of a comeback. They hit a 2-run homer in the 7th inning. But then this is where Tennessee just went off again. Blake Burke home run. And then Campbell got another home run. And then Christian Moore single up the middle, made it 9-7. And then Cortland Lawson with a 3-run homer. Tennessee went on to win this one 12-7. Hello to my grandparents watching along. Pitching for Tennessee, Chase Dollander went 2 2/3 of an inning. Yeah. Not had a great game at all for being the SEC Pitcher of the Year. Gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Just not his best day. But Kirby Connell really pitched a gem with 4 innings pitch. Gave up 3 hits. Did give up a couple earned runs. But he does get the W, and he goes to 4-0 on the year. Chase Burns relief pitch for an inning and a third, and then Redmond Walsh, finished the game out. So Tennessee now moving on to the regional finals. Hello, Miss K. She says, "I'm proud. Go Vols." Absolutely. So now we had to wait Sunday night, or really Sunday afternoon, going into Sunday night. Was it going to be a rematch with Campbell? Or was we going to take on Georgia Tech? Campbell and Georgia Tech played a elimination game earlier in the day. Georgia Tech ended up getting the win. So now we have a 7 o'clock game against the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. All right. So Tennessee, kind of like the night before, was down 4-0 to Georgia Tech. That big pitcher that they had just really cause havoc on us. But like I said, this team has fought through adversity throughout this entire season. Like I said, going to the top of the 5th inning, Tennessee trailing 4-0. And it got started with Luke Lippius. He reached on with a fielding error, and Cortland Lawson advanced to third. Evan Russell scored. And by the way, we'll talk about Evan Russell's kind of drama weekend in just a moment. And then Jordan Beck grounded out to the third baseman, which he got an RBI. And then Tennessee moved up to the 7th inning, still trailing 4-2. Trey Lipscomb singled into right field, brought in another run. Jordan Beck doubled into center field. It's starting the 9th inning. That tied the game up at 4. And then Tennessee took the lead, bases loaded. Trey Lipscomb hit by pitch. Scored the run. Of course, they intentionally walked Drew Gilbert before that. Like I said, Tennessee up 5-4 on Georgia Tech. Christian Moore singled through, brought in 2 runs, made it 7-4 Tennessee. Evan Russell singled through left field, and then advanced. And then there was an error on the play by Georgia Tech, or they had committed an error, if you will. Made it 8-4, and then Cortland Lawson with a sacrifice RBI. Made it 9-4. Georgia Tech, going to the bottom of the 9th inning, scored 2 more runs. And poor Redmond Walsh, I mean, it felt like it took an hour to finish that out. But Tennessee does get the win, 9-6, winning the Knoxville Regional, and now moving on to the Super Regional for the 2nd year in a row, and Tennessee for the 2nd year in a row hosting a Super Regional. Looking at the pitching numbers, Drew Beam goes 3 innings with 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Will Mabry, 3 2/3 inning, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts for him. He did a great job in the game. And then Redmond Walsh closed out the final 2 innings. Like I said, it took forever to get that win, but Tennessee goes on to win. Zach Maxwell was the pitcher for Georgia Tech that caused us a lot of havoc, but like I said, we finally got him out of there. So Tennessee wins, like I said, wins the Knoxville Regional. It was kind of an emotional weekend. Just some of the close games, especially with Campbell and Georgia Tech, not so much with Alabama State. And now we move on to take on Notre Dame. All right, so Notre Dame, they won the Statesboro Regional, where Georgia Southern was the host, and Georgia Southern was the number 16 seed. And, of course, obviously, with the number 1 seed. So, number 1 plays number 16. In the Statesboro Regional, you had Georgia Southern, USC Greensboro, Texas Tech, and then Notre Dame. I figured Notre Dame was probably going to come out winning that regional. They've had a pretty decent season. I'm about to read their numbers for the most part in just a second. Like I said, Tennessee, or excuse me, Notre Dame. I was listening to some of the analysts. They were talking about Notre Dame probably should have hosted a regional this past weekend, and it seems like for the second year in a row they kind of got robbed out of that. But they do win the Statesboro Regional, and now they will come up to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Looking at Notre Dame's numbers on the year, they're 38-14, 16-11 in the ACC. And 38 wins seems kind of low, but looking at their schedule, they had a lot of rainouts, especially in conference play. So, some of the weekend series some big marquee ACC weekend series that they had a chance to play, Mother Nature just kind of played havoc on a lot of their games. But they got a couple, looking at some of their key wins throughout the year, and I'm not going to break down every game. I'm just kind of highlight some of their schedule. But Notre Dame picked up a couple of wins at NC State when the Wolfpack was number 17 in the country. They swept number 5 Florida State down in Tallahassee in the beginning of April. I think it was like April 1st and the 3rd was their series. They swept Clemson away Forest, which Clemson normally is a decent baseball school, but they haven't had the best year so far, and Wake Forest not so much. They took 2 or 3 from Boston College and Pittsburgh. Kevin says nail biter games. Yeah, absolutely. And he gives a go Vols. Absolutely. They defeated Michigan at home 14-5. Michigan was in the NCAA tournament. And then they had a win at Miami late in the year. Miami was number 9 in the country. Of course, they're one of the host sites this year. And then in the ACC tournament, Notre Dame defeated Florida State and number 13, Virginia. But they've had some interesting losses, too. They were swept by Louisville, which Louisville is still in the NCAA tournament. Lost to Virginia Tech. Well, actually, that Virginia Tech series, they only got to play one game of that 3-game series. They lost, I think it was that Friday, and then that Saturday and Sunday game was canceled due to weather, and I believe that was in South Bend. Both sides says, but so much fun to watch, absolutely. They got swept by Duke, lost 2-3 to Miami, and then I mentioned they lost and ended up losing to the eventual ACC champions, North Carolina Tar Heels, in the ACC tournament. And we talked about they won the Statesboro Regional. They defeated Texas Tech. They had played Texas Tech twice. Won the first round 3-2. Defeated the host city, well, I guess it'd be the host city or host school, Georgia Southern. Beat them 6-4, and then in the regional final they beat Texas Tech 2-1. So Notre Dame's not a stranger to the Super Regional. Last year, they played the eventual national champion Mississippi State down in Starkville, which Mississippi State obviously went on to win. Hopefully, history will repeat itself as the Fighting Irish comes to Knoxville, and maybe they can lose to the eventual national champions the second year in a row. Fingers and toes crossed and knock on wood. Take a look at some Notre Dame players really quick. And I'm probably going to pronounce some of these names wrong, so if you're a Notre Dame fan watching along, I apologize. But they got a guy named David LaManna. He's leading the team in batting average at .359. Carter Putz leads the team in hits and RBIs, 71 hits, 42 RBIs. He's tied with RBIs with a guy named Jack Brannigan. And then home runs, you got a guy named Jack Ziska with 11 home runs, and Brooks Cotes with 11 home runs. And looking at Notre Dame's roster, it feels like they've got like 15 guys named Jack on that team. So kind of interesting, I guess, is like us with chases. As far as pitchers go, they got a guy named John M. Bertrand, 2.27. Yeah, fingers crossed from Ryan Hughes. Hello, Ryan, tuning in. Bertrand with a 2.27 ERA. 9-2 record, 103 strikeouts compared to 19 walks. That's really good. So I'm sure they're going to throw him out there definitely Friday or Saturday. Just depends on how they go with it. And then Austin Temple, the other pitcher that they've used, he's got a 3.46 ERA, 4-1 on the year with 86 strikeouts to 31 walks. And I was kind of interested to see how they were using their pitchers in their regional. So it seemed like Notre Dame, when they played Texas Tech, they really went through a lot of pitchers. They really freshened up that pitching mound and a lot of bullpen activity. And I expect to see the same thing again, especially playing a high caliber opponent as us. I expect Notre Dame to kind of do the same thing. And when they play Georgia Southern, they just use 4 pitchers. And we kind of saw that, especially in our regional Friday and Saturday with Campbell and Georgia Tech. I mean, they brought their best pitcher out there, but after 100 pitches, you can definitely tell both Campbell's pitcher and Maxwell from Georgia Tech. You can definitely tell the fatigue was setting in, especially Maxwell. I mean, he was sweating through his whole hat was just covered in sweat, and it was interesting. Thank you, Ryan, for joining tonight. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I expect to see a lot of bullpen activity from both schools. Like I said, this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. Like I said, Tennessee has played in some big games this year, and like I said, we've already took on an ACC opponent in Georgia Tech. So, like I said, this is going to be a fun matchup right here. As far as I could see this going the whole weekend. Obviously, I wanted to end Saturday, at 5 or 6 o'clock, and us going to Omaha. But it wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame can squeak out a win. But like I said, this team has fought through adversity, and we saw that this team can come back from deficits. And like I said, the nail biters, especially with Campbell and Georgia Tech. It's just, like I said, we know the fire that Tony V brings out in his guys. And like I said, key players steps up the entire weekend. With Jarrell Ortega had a great weekend. Lipscomb had a great weekend. Drew Gilbert just is a monster in these NCAA tournaments. Lippy has had a great weekend. I mean, on and on and on and on. And it's not just one guy. There's multiple guys that can contribute. And even on the mound, we saw Kirby Connell did a great job when 4 innings pitched on Saturday against Campbell. And you've got definitely the best weekend rotation in college baseball with Chase Dolander, Chase Burns, and Drew Beam. And then you throw in Blade Tidwell, kind of like a hybrid starter bullpen guy. You mentioned Kirby Connell, Ben Joyce, who could throw, 400 miles an hour. I mean, he's just excited to see. Redmond Walsh. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. I mean, it's just, like I said, we've mentioned this several weeks on Ball Society Live. This team is something special to watch, and the college baseball world is noticing that. And like I said, it's going to be an exciting weekend at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. They announced today there will be a watch party. Yeah, I'll get to that, bro. Thank you. Like I said, they're going to do a watch party for the Super Regionals like they did last year. They're moving it this year to the outside of right field because there's a lot of construction going on at the University of Tennessee, which, they always have construction going on somewhere. So that's where the watch party is going to be. The schedule for this weekend, Friday night, 6 o'clock. That game will be televised on ESPN2. And then Saturday at 2 o'clock on ESPN. And then Sunday, if there is a Sunday game, it's still obviously to be determined, but hopefully we don't have to play Sunday, but you never know. Brad mentioned about one of our Ball Society followers, Ryan. Shout out to Ryan for his dedication to our young boys and girls in Tennessee. Ryan is the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club in the state of Tennessee and is doing great things. Yeah, thank you, Ryan, for doing for just your dedication and like I said, that's the volunteer spirit right there. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you for Brad for pointing that out too. Like I said, busy weekend coming up in Knoxville. What are your thoughts as we have everybody in here? Do you think we'll go the full weekend, or do you think we can sweep Notre Dame in 2 games? I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a nail biter all weekend. There's just no doubt about it. A lot of a range of emotions, and just going to be a real fun weekend. Get a drink really quick here. Excuse me. Ryan says, thanks, Brad and David. Go Vols. Absolutely. I mentioned the Evan Russell situation. I'll go ahead and briefly talk about it. So during the NCAA baseball coverage, of course, well, let me back up just a second here. So Tennessee announced that Evan Russell was not going to play this weekend. Brad says, keep me posted. I'll be in the Outer Banks all week starting tomorrow. Oh, awesome. So we'll definitely keep you posted. So the University of Tennessee baseball team announced that Evan Russell was going to play this weekend. So we didn't know what the deal was. And one of the ESPN announcers, baseball analysts, Troy Eklund, I think is his name. I never heard of him until this event happened. So he was broadcasting, he was broadcasting the Oklahoma State Regional, and, they were talking about Tennessee, and they mentioned in passing that Tennessee is not going to be, or is missing a key player. And Troy says, yeah, it was Evan Russell. He's out because he's suspended for taking PEDs, aka steroids, and and of course that had nothing to do with why he was out. Let me read Kevin's comment here. All I know is great to be a Tennessee Volunteer, especially the good things happening now when we have been through a lot of bad times. Yeah, absolutely. True fans bleed orange. I hope we sweep this weekend. Okay, yeah, should be a lot of fun. So getting back to Evan, so obviously that's not why Evan Russell was out. His dad tweeted out that he was going through some anxiety issues, mental health issues, just kind of need to recharge the batteries. And what Troy said was just completely out of bounds. I don't know where he got that information from. He did come out and apologize, the next day during the broadcast. And, it is in the past now. And I just don't, and we don't need that to be a distraction with the team. So that was kind of the whole thing, was just a miscommunication of whatever Troy picked up his information from. And like I said, if that was true, that would have been all over ESPN. That would have been a big news happening. So just terrible communication, and just a terrible delivery from Troy. Like I said, he did apologize, and that's in the past now. And now we're moving on. And we'll drop it right there. But like I said, Evan Russell got to play on Sunday, and hopefully everything is good to go. And answering Kevin's question, leadership is why we are back. Dr. Danny White, go Vols. Brad, terrible judgment by him, period. Absolutely. So, like I said, that's in the past now. And now we're getting ready for Notre Dame this weekend. Like I said, we'll just stop it right there. So, any other comments, questions about this weekend? Like I said, big weekend coming up. There's not much else I can write about. I heard ticket prices are very high. Obviously, I'm not surprised by that. I think somebody mentioned on Ball Society on one of our posts that it was like $1,000 for like 2 tickets, I believe. So that's kind of high. I'm sure Ticketmaster is the ones that are in charge of that. But if you got a ticket, good job. I don't have one, although I will be in Knoxville Saturday night for the NWA wrestling show. So, but of course that will start after that. So, any others before we talk a little football before we sign out? Like I said, Am I going to the block party? No, I will not. Unfortunately, I will be in town, but not unfortunately for fall baseball. I would love to be. I'm sure my buddy Jared will be up there. Mr. Jared Brown. He went to it last year. Brett says it's great to be in the Vol Society. Am I right? Our group is awesome and growing like crazy. Absolutely. Like I said, we got some good stuff coming up throughout the summer. Like I said, we'll still talk about baseball until we either crown national champions or get put out. Like I said, and for those who are new to Vol Society, coming up during football season, we are launching the official Vol Society podcast with our founder, Brad. I will be on it. Davey Dees will be on it. We'll have other guests from time to time and whoever else talking about Tennessee football and some athletics. It's kind of like sitting on the back porch, drinking a cup of coffee, talking to your buddies about Tennessee football and stuff. And like I said, we're throwing an invite out to Ryan right now for a guest on the podcast. So this will give us an opportunity, like I said, to have other members of the Vol Society to kind of express what's on your mind. Where do you think the direction the University of Tennessee football team's going? And like I said, hopefully some positive wins this year. I was talking to a local high school football coach tonight during our church fellowship meal. He's taking his high school to the University of Tennessee tomorrow for a 7-on-7 tournament. So best of luck to him. And like I said, he's excited to be up there too, and for these young men to participate in that. Also coming this fall, we'll kind of blend in some high school football from time to time, and we'll dive more into that when we get into it. Brad says, just folks sitting around the My Talk and all things Vols will be a blast. Yeah, absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, we're still doing our countdown on Facebook every day, countdown to kickoff. We're at number 85, which was Lester McLean and Horace Morris, who's getting some trending on our Vol Society page. So that's pretty cool. And then tomorrow's a big one in 84 with Cordell Patterson. So look for that on Facebook tomorrow as we count down to kickoff. Ryan says, over under on 7.5 wins for the football team. I'm going over. I'm going 9-3 now. I was sticking at 8-4 for a while. Like I said, I think I was debating between South Carolina. I was kind of putting that as a loss. I'm now saying that's a win. I think South Carolina's. I figured they would have been the hype train this summer, but I hadn't really heard a lot. I think a lot of people's now kind of putting that on Kentucky and putting us between us and Kentucky as far as who's going to finish second in the SEC East. I still think we are, especially since we get Kentucky at home. My losses right now is Georgia, Alabama, and I think at LSU game. It all depends. Bryce says, Ryan, way over. I see a minimum 8 wins, more likely 9. And Bryce said he's literally dissected the entire schedule. I'm confident we can win 9. Yeah, I'm leaning that too. I think 9-3 is definitely so. Switching over, we'll do a quick behind enemy lines. We preview LSU, as I did kind of mention. Still debating on that as a loss. So I'll do this really quickly. We also saw how LSU finished last year 6-7. On the year 3-5. Coach O's no longer there anymore. Bringing in Brian Kelly and the family. I still love saying that. So they're big. LSU is going to be kind of a big wild card next year, in my opinion. We really don't know what to expect. They got Max Johnson at quarterback. They also picked up a quarterback transfer from Texas A&M. They're pretty confident in their running back position, but their offensive line needs a lot of help from what I'm reading. So it's just kind of one of those, don't really know what to expect with them. And we'll definitely learn a lot about LSU when we get to play them after our bye week, because we get Florida, then the bye week, then LSU. And like I said, Florida gets an early test week 1 down in Nolens against Florida State Seminoles in the All-State Kickoff Classic party thing. So, we'll find out a lot about LSU. Like I said, that game's going to be very interesting. I was also talking to that same high school football coach, and we were talking about that LSU game, and he says, depends on if it's a night game, he probably would take LSU as a loss, but if it's a day game, like a noon kickoff for them, Tennessee definitely will win it. So, he's right. Maybe we can get an early kickoff of that. So that's just kind of a quick preview of that, and then we'll continue to look at some of the teams throughout the year. And like I said, we'll definitely dive into it once we get closer to football. But like I said, any other questions or comments? Have a great crowd tonight. Thank you for everybody tuning in so far. For Ball Society Live, a lot of likes and loves. Thank you to Vance and Lorette, Ryan, Jimmy for liking the video, loving the video. Of course, Brad. And Brad says he's getting excited. Ball Society family. So, yeah, thank you, everybody. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about next week. Also, we'll recap the Notre Dame series, the Super Regional. Hopefully, we're heading on to Omaha that next weekend, and hopefully, maybe a future national championship coming to Knoxville. I mean, who would have thought even just 3 years ago Tennessee would be in contention to win a national championship in baseball? Like I said, it just shows that how much Tony Vitello has just put his heart and soul into this baseball program. We saw, if you ever see Tennessee baseball games from even 10 years ago, you didn't even have 400 fans hardly there. Now you got over 4,000. It was packed to the gills last weekend in the first round of the regional, and you're going to have even bigger crowds coming up for the Supers. Brad says he's one of a kind, and Ryan says King Vitello, absolutely. And he is coming down out here at my house. So let's hang on for a few more minutes. Yeah, pay him whatever he wants. Yeah, absolutely. Brad says the biggest bachelor, and I'm now hearing more of like his how handsome Tony Vitello is from what I've been told. So it's quite interesting to see that, and I just love just the way he presents himself and the attitude. And Brad says he is a stud. Like I said, I just love how the team just responds to him, of his personality and the way they play every day for him in every game. It's just so exciting and very reminiscent of when Coach Bruce Pearl came to Tennessee and just rejuvenized that basketball program that had a tradition, that had a little bit of a legacy, but just never went to that next level. And I always thought Tennessee baseball was kind of the same way. We got some, big-time baseball players that came through the program. Todd Helton, R.A. Dickey, Luke O'Chaver, just to name some off the top of my head. But, it was always, okay, well, we made the NCAA tournament, but then we get, mollywopped by North Carolina in the Chapel Hill Regional. And throw a little year we went. And now, like I said, it's completely changed. And now, and Brad says leadership is everything. This guy's the leader, and the players respond to him so well to him. Absolutely. And now, like I said, we're seeing Tennessee baseball go to places that we've never seen. We've been to the College World Series, several times, but, it was always, we kind of, lucked our way in from time to time. But now, like I said, hosting regionals and hosting a super regional for the second year in a row, it never happened before that. And just ball baseball is so exciting. The Lindsey Nelson legends, bringing that raucous atmosphere. It's just unreal. And speaking of unreal, how about all the sports in Tennessee? Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've mentioned this a bunch of times. It got started really when Dr. Danny White came aboard. Tennessee was having a great baseball season, and that's where it kind of the snowball started turning, and it went through all the sports. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but Tennessee becomes the first SEC school to win the basketball and baseball tournament in the same calendar year. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, no other SEC school can say that. And Brad says never been more proud to be a Vol. So awesome, absolutely. And like I said, we still got football coming up, and also this is the last sporting event this weekend for the school calendar year, the Super Regionals. I think track has a meet, the NCAA tournament, and then the next sporting event at the University of Tennessee won't be until August 20th when the volleyball team gets their season underway against Belmont. I found that out yesterday. And Kevin says so right. Yeah, I mean it's just so amazing to see that. And we try to compare it to other eras at Tennessee. Is it like the 90s, the 2000s, the 80s, and yeah, you could compare and talk about it all you want to, but I'm just enjoying just at the current moment of just how quickly this athletic department has just turned around, and we've spent, like Kevin mentioned earlier in the comments, just all that we went through, and we've been the punching bag joke for over a decade, and you hear from fans, and you still hear from fans today, like, why are y'all so optimistic? This ain't your year, yada 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 yada. And now it's like it's finally coming to fruition. We've always believed. I mean, as fans, we're gonna believe in our Volunteers, to the day we die. But you always think, and we've got the resources, we've got the facilities. We have the fan base. What is missing? And that was the leadership. And we had, athletic directors and chancellors who didn't really understand that, didn't have a full grasp, and even bringing back one of our great UT head coaches, and that didn't work out. And it's just, and now we've got kind of somebody from the outside, and Dr. Danny White, who came from UCF, and I know Danny White. Some people not too crazy what he did at UCF. I don't really see it. I love what he's doing right now. He did a great job at Buffalo. He's done a great job at UCF, and now he's doing great things at Tennessee. Donnie Plowman, the chancellor, Randy Boyd, the president. It's just everything is clicking together. Brad says no lie. Watching these 3 past games was so much fun. Such a great feeling having our program back. Absolutely. And it's just been a lot of fun. Like I said, just the weekend was so fun. Like I said, having that full crowd, Lindsey Nelson, exciting, and the renovations are about to renovate that stadium, and I love how the new stadium's going to look whenever that gets going. I was there the Georgia game that Saturday when we played Georgia, May. I can't remember what day it was, back in May. And that was a fun atmosphere too, and you got to hear like the Lindsey Nelson legends, and everybody was involved. And I remember Luke Lispius hit a home run, and we all chanted Luke as around the bases. And like, this team has a personality, and it's just not nameless faces. It's now they're Tennessee legends right now. Brad said football is going to be absurd. Cannot wait. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun this year, especially when Florida comes to Knoxville, when Alabama comes to Knoxville. That's going to be 2 raucous home games. I mean, they're all going to be raucous in their own way, but definitely that Florida and Alabama game is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be wild and crazy. Yeah, I can tell you're excited, Brad. It's a lot of fun, and we got some great stuff for Ball Society coming along the pike. Like I said, with the podcast coming pretty soon, more content, definitely diving more into football season, just other stuff. Like I said, we got baseball still going on. Like I said, still in the NCAA tournament, getting ready to host the Super Regional with Notre Dame. Like I said, it feels, and like I said, we really need to get this win over Notre Dame, because it seems like every time Notre Dame comes to Knoxville for something, they always sneak a win out. So we got to get some revenge on them. Although we did beat them in football in '99 at home, because game day was there. Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. Like I said, don't forget, Social media pages right now scrolling across the bottom. Facebook.com/UT Vol Society, YouTube.com/Vol Society, and on Twitter at Society Vol. We'll be back next week. We'll recap Super Regionals. Hopefully, we're making a trip to Omaha. And we'll talk more about, like I said, with the Tennessee baseball team and Tennessee athletics. Behind the Enemy Lines series will continue. We'll look at the Alabama game, look what they've done. Obviously, I think we all know how they did last year. And like I said, we'll continue to keep rolling along with these Wednesday night shows. Don't forget, share the video out. Tell everyone about Vol Society continuing to grow. I meant to look up the numbers before I went on the air, forgot, but I'm sure they're still growing leaps and bounds, over 12,000 on Facebook. I do know that, over 800 on YouTube. Just so exciting. Like I said, that's all I've got tonight. We'll recap. Definitely follow us along. YouTube is wild. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we'll definitely recap the weekend, and also just follow us. Almost 1K on YouTube. Thank you, Brad. We'll definitely tune into our Facebook page throughout the weekend, as we will try to recap the weekend, and then I'll give a full breakdown next Wednesday night of the Super Regionals, and then hopefully we'll give an Omaha preview, and we'll talk a little bit about the Alabama game next week also. Until then, we've made through this whole Wednesday night show and didn't lose any power, and it's storming and lightning, so thank you, Lord, for getting us through this. Absolutely. Until next week, this is David Morrison saying have a great night, and always go Vols, beat Notre Dame.